Hey everyone, it's Jared here, back with the 5th lesson in my Fastest Way to Get Faster series. Now, what would a fastest way to get faster series be without some crazy crossovers? That's what we're gonna be talking about today. Now, before I get into it, disclaimer, it's really easy to injure yourself doing crossovers. I poked myself in the eye, I've bashed my hands, I've hurt my shoulders moving around back and forth. So be very, very careful, go really, really slow. Okay, so the first exercise is played as 16th notes. So we're starting on the floor tom with the right hand, then we go to the snare with the left hand, then we go to the hi-hat with the right hand, and then the floor tom. Now that pattern just repeats itself over and over again. So the right hand's basically going from the floor tom to the hi-hat, and the left hand is going from the snare to the floor tom. So I'll play it nice and slow. Let's put it to a metronome at slow and fast speeds. Now the next exercise is also using a single stroke roll, but we're just going to play 16th note triplets instead of 16th notes. So nice and slow, this is how it looks. We start with the floor tom with one stroke on the right hand. Then from there on out, we play 2 on the high tom, 2 on the floor tom, 2 on the high tom, 2 on the floor tom. But you always alternate your stickings. And then we end with just one single floor tom. So nice and slow. So really practice those movements, because when you start playing this at the faster tempos, it's really easy to bash your hand instead of hitting the drum. So be careful and take it nice and slow. Here it is, both slow and fast speeds. The third exercise might look a little bit crazy on the sheet music, but don't worry about it. Now I've notated it as 32nd notes. If you'd like to play it as 16th notes, print out the sheet music, draw a line down the middle, and count it 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E for the first bar, and then 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E for the second bar, right? So you can play it as a 2-bar 16th note fill or a 1-bar 32nd note fill. Now the pattern is actually quite simple. It's just a 10-note pattern that repeats itself. Now I wanted to create something where the right hand crossed over the left and the left hand crossed over the right. And it does that within that 10-note grouping. Now we play this 10-note grouping 3 times. 10 times 3, I know we don't like math, but whatever. 10 times 3 is 30, right? And then we add an extra 2 snare strokes at the end before the pattern resets itself. So let me play it for you just ultra slow, and you can hear how it sounds. Now I'll play it 3 times for you with the 2 snare hits at the end. And that is the entire pattern. It doesn't sound like much, probably doesn't even look like much when it's played at that tempo. But now what I'll do is I'll play it for you with the metronome at 60 beats per minute, and again at 80 beats per minute. Now, if you can push it faster, you should try it. But be very, very careful. Do not injure yourself. Here we go. Now I play these as repeating patterns. If you like, you could just use them as fills. Let me take the last one for example. I'll play a beat, I'll play it as 1 bar fill, then I'll go back to the beat. Here we go. But really just practice them and kind of make them your own. You might find a different orchestration. You might play the hi-hat instead of the snare to make the crossovers more dramatic. But whatever you do, just make it your own and make it musical as possible. Now don't use this at your next jazz gig or your next hotel gig where you're supposed to play very lightly. Use it very, very sparingly. And if you do use it in a place you're not supposed to, don't tell anyone that I told you how to do it, okay? So once you can play them each individually, and you practice them for your practice session for 5 minutes each, you can start playing them in sequence all together. And that, my friends, is the 5th lesson in the fastest way to get faster series on crazy crossovers. Now get to your kit and start practicing. Go.